In today's video, my F30 335 with the M2 conversion bumper is finally getting a proper fitting carbon fiber front lip. Hey, this is Bryan. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com. Many of you know that about 2 years ago at this point, we did the M2 conversion for the F30 on my 335 here, but I will say there is a fatal flaw with the bumper. You see, in my personal opinion, the M2 conversion front bumper for the F30 is the best bumper conversion that you can do. Whenever I take this car to a car show, people know it's not base, they know it's not M Sport, they know it's not an M3, and they're like, what is this bumper? It looks so good. And that's because it's the M2 bumper. It's very unique because it's a bumper from a different car. Now, the problem with this bumper is that when we went to have this made, we had to change some of the dimensions to the actual bumper because when you think about it, an M2 is a small little two-door and the 3 Series is a larger 4-door. So naturally, we had to elongate some sections of it to make it fit on the car, which means that the M2 lips and the M2 comp lips just don't fit, which makes us super excited to announce that we finally have carbon fiber front lips specifically molded for this M2 conversion bumper on the F30. We're gonna show them to you and we're gonna show you how to install them. All right, if you take a look here on my bumper stand, you can see the 2 different styles that we have for the M2 conversion on the F30. So if you are looking for more like a performance style where it's just pretty low key but still has some really cool styling, we have this style here where it's pretty much just flat along the top and then it's raised in the center section and then also on the ends, and you have these cool little air pockets. Now, on the other hand, if you are looking for something that's a little bit more aggressive, has a little more styling, there's this other version here in the back where it has these nice fins on the end and then it contours with the bumper. So again, very cool, 2 completely different styles. So if you're going for something more subtle, more performance oriented, there's this style, or if you want a little bit more style, more aggression, you can go with the second. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna put the car up in the air just so you guys can see it a little bit better. We're gonna hold them up and show you what they look like. All right, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna hold up this style and show you guys what it looks like. You got yours lined up in the back. All right, cool. All right, so this is a rough look at what this is going to look like. Obviously, we would have to fully mount it so you get the full picture, but I really like the styling of this. I think it looks really cool. It's very subtle, yet there's a huge chunk of carbon in the front of your car, so it still looks awesome. So, all right, let's throw up the other one and we'll see how that one looks. I don't know, I kind of like this one. I'm gonna say for me, this is the one that I want to install on the car. It's got to go over to my side a little bit, but I really like how it follows the contour of the bumper and then also has these wings on the end. We actually have some other rear splitters that would go perfect with this. So Zach and I are going to show you how to install the slip and then we'll show you how to install the matching rear splitters. All right, what I'm going to do now is I am going to put the car up in the air. We're going to apply some 3M tape. We're going to mount the center first. We have some holes that are going to line up with the factory holes in the bumper. And then from there, we're going to screw it down. Then we're going to mount the sides and show you guys how it looks. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple strips of our mounting tape here. Go back just a hair. Go straight across. For this, we're going to use some mounting tape and then some self-tapping screws. Okay, good piece there. All right, that looks good. All right, so now what we're going to do, if you take a look under the bumper, you will see that there are these different holes and these different cutouts, which these are modeled after. So that way, you always know exactly how everything goes and you can tell if you have everything correctly positioned or not. So it looks like that is where we need to go. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my tape, I'm gonna peel it off. I'm just gonna peel it off, 6 to 8 inches or so on each side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel the ends of this, and I'm gonna pull this behind. Because since this little fin is in the way to pull it forward, we're just gonna pull it off from back here, and that should be okay. And I'll do the exact same thing over here. All right, so let's put the lip up. I'll line everything up with the back here. And you can start to push your middle portion into place. Now just to make sure that this isn't going to go anywhere, I'm going to put a screw in. So that's basically what you do if you're doing it by yourself. I'm going to pop another one in over here. I'll do one over here. All right, and when you are putting screws in, make sure you're not using super long ones, because on my F80 one time, I put too long of a screw in, it went right through this lower portion of the bumper. So always be very mindful of that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go put a couple more screws in here. Then I'm going to flex this up. We're going to secure that in place, and then we will move over to the other side. So now that I have the bottom secured, I do just want to get a couple in this corner just to make sure everything's going to sit where I want it to sit. Then what I can do, I can pull off my tape on this side. Okay, so one thing that we learned on the other side is that you may want to start by putting a screw in over here. You want to make sure that this lines up. So right now it's sticking a little bit past just because there's some flex in the bumper and whatnot. So what may make it line up a little bit easier for you is if you pull that off, then you line up that with the end and then throw a screw in over here. That'll hold that in place so that you can get your corner up, and then you can work on this, and then you can finish securing that side. So, as we've done their side, grab some self-tappers and lock it down. All right, so at this point in the process, everything is fully installed, so you can see what it looks like. With the other M2 lips, especially around this area, there were just huge, huge, huge gaps, and it just looks super funky. And on the back, it never lined up. So here you can see everything lines up with the back. Everything contours really nice. Now, when you have strong contours like this, you a lot of times are going to get a little bit of a gap. Same with if you do like a VRSF slip, doesn't really matter what brand, you are going to have a little bit. So I would say fit and finish, I would say a 9 out of 10 just because of this little area in here and in here. But still, especially when it's on the ground, you're never gonna see it, and it's wildly better than any regular M2 lip. Now, because we went with this style, with this aggressive little side fin, I thought it was only appropriate that we install our Kies Carbon rear splitters, which actually have the same exact contour. So this one goes on that side. So we'll have to do something with the side skirt one day, but it's going to be cool because it kind of goes up over here. And then in the back of the car, we designed this with a little bit of a lip. We actually designed it 2 years ago when we still had our old logo. So that's how long we've had these. But these are really cool. We've been meaning to make a video to tell you guys about them and actually put them on the car, but we just haven't had a chance. We designed these 100% from scratch. So no one else in the world has this style, unless they took our style and ran with it. All right, so we pull these 2 screws out here. Okay, so I'm just gonna peel the tape off of this. And just a little note, this only works on M Sport bumpers. We didn't design it for the base bumper. We may, but just for now. just M Sport. Okay, so then it goes up. And you're going to line it up with the factory holes, which is really cool. And then I just had to put longer screws in. Oh, I love the way these fit. This is like OEM fitment right here. And we'll do the exact same thing on the other side here. Line up the screw with the hole and do that loose until I can get this one situated. When we did this, we were like, let's just line it up with the factory hole. Make it a million times easier. And that way you don't have all these extra holes in your bumper. Yeah, it's worked really well. The only thing you need to do is just get some longer screws for it. So I think these really just complement the back of the car with our carbon diffuser. I mean, we had that thing for like 4 years now. So then the carbon flows around here. We definitely need some side skirt extensions on this thing. I don't have any in the shop here to install, but I think these and the front lip, complete game changer for this car. So let's put it on the ground and we'll check out how it looks. So as you just saw, we did this incredible M2 conversion front lip. We did the incredible looking rear splitters, and really the last thing was those side skirts. So we called over to the warehouse and one of the guys just ran them over. Apparently we had some in stock. I didn't see them, but they had them in a different spot because they were prepping them for customers. We had 5 sets left, so that we were able to get our hands on one. Now these are the universal ones. So what they're going to do is they're just going to sit along the side here. These ones come completely flat. And what's really cool about this version is they're not very aggressive, but they're very universal. So if you have an F30, they work on that. If you have an F32, works on that, F80 and also F82, regardless of what side skirt. So with most side skirt extensions, like what I did on Blue before, you had to have an M Performance side skirt. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. With this, it doesn't matter if you have a base model or the highest end, it's still gonna work great. So I'm gonna put the car back up in the air and we're gonna finish this thing out right. All right, so here is a look at the side skirt extensions that we are going to be installing. It is a huge hunk of carbon. And like I said, they're perfectly flat. They are universal. The way that you tell which end is which, the little end with the little bump on it goes in the back and sticks out. Now, sometimes you'll notice that I have my chalk marker in my hand. I'm just gonna set this over here for now. Because it's meant to be universal. Sometimes to get the best fitment, you need to trim a little bit, but it's super easy to do. So I'm just gonna see if we need to at all. Basically what I'm looking for is I wanna make sure that when we use the lift, that the jack pad isn't going to crush it. So, let me see here. Actually, the jack pad works pretty good to hold it in place. All right, so because we have the car on and off the lift a lot, I wanna make sure that my pad isn't going to hit my new extension here, especially since it is brand new. The other thing too, if you look up here, you'll see this is where my side skirt is. Let me pop it up. I want this to sit in more. Now, with the M Performance ones that we have, they actually are molded to this little groove so they don't, they lock into place. But this, I want to make sure that I can slide these in a little bit more, because for me, if you take a look at the top angle here, you'll see that there's just it's a good like 2 inches that overlays. So if you see here, it just sticks out way too far, which again, this isn't my first time installing universal skirts. So definitely something to be aware of, especially, could you imagine if I left it like this with my little kids? Crunch, they'd use it as a step. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my chalk marker and I'm just going to cut this out a little bit. And then this way, when I go to use my lift, I'm going to have plenty of clearance. And also, it's gonna just pull it in, just make it look a lot nicer. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this in roughly 1 inch. I don't want to go too crazy with it. we go. And I'll do the same over here. Isn't it funny how we started out with a basic lip install and now we're dremeling? That's the way car stuff goes. All right, so at this point, here is our end result. Once we were finished this, we actually went out and we cut the other one outside. So now I'm going to lay down some double-sided tape. I'm just going to ride it along our line here. And we already did test fit it, so we know that it's right where we want it to be. Now, some people just leave it taped. I like to tape it and then use some self-tapping screws. So whichever method you prefer. And you just want to push this down, make sure everything is ready to go. What we're going to do now, I'm going to put it up by the car. I'm going to peel off one side of the tape. And basically I'm going to stick it and then just work my way down, just gradually pulling the tape off and then, or the backing of the tape off, I'll say, and then sticking it up. So let me get this peeled. It's super cold today, so the tape peels nice, unlike in the summer. Good, there's just a little portion of tape that's holding it in place. Actually, I'm gonna probably just set this in the back too. Let's peel the back of the tape. So this way I know that everything is right where I want it to be. I like that look, so let's go with that. So it definitely still flares out a good amount. I could push it in more, but I like how and where it's sitting right now. All right, so I'm gonna move up to the front now and peel the tape. Perfect, and now because I did these cutouts, it's gonna go on the lift nice as well. All right, just to make sure that it stays extra in place, I'm going to just go throw some self-tapping screws in. All right, so now that we have the car down on the ground off the lift, that was totally missing. Now, it's so funny because this video was only supposed to be the front lip, but I gotta say, the front lip was a game changer that inspired us to do the rear, which inspired us to do the side skirt. And now that we have the whole lower perimeter of this car just covered in carbon, complete game changer. Zach and I were just talking about it after this. We have some other mods that we're gonna do to this. We are not done with this car. Everyone thinks we're done with it and we're ready to sell it. We are not there. We still have a ton of stuff that is gonna, some stuff might catch you off guard, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. But as you can see, even with the most basic side skirt extensions that we have, just the universal ones, completely changes the look of this car. And I will say, like, sometimes some of the other cars get us distracted, you know, and away from this one, but this just completely transformed this car again. And even after 4 years, it's amazing, like, how you can still make it look better. Like, it looked better and then it just keeps looking better. So I can't wait to do the other things we're gonna do. So anyway, once again, my name is Brian, that's Zach behind the camera. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you are interested in carbon or other mods for your BMWs, be sure to see the links down in the description. If you like today's video, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and check us out in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.